Hey guys, it's Charnice, and today we're going to be talking about the MSAP program at SGU. So MSAP stands for Medical School Assessment Program, and the program is one of the invite-only programs at SGU, which means that you have to be invited to participate in the program in order to do it. That being said, some people can actually opt into the program by either sending an email to msap@sgu.edu or talking to their admissions advisor in some way. Basically, after speaking to my admissions advisor, the scoop is that the people who are invited to participate in the MSAP program are people who have some kind of deficiency in their application, whether that may be that their science GPA was below the average of the people who were accepted into their terms class, or if their MCAT score was below the average of the people who were accepted into their terms class. So this program is really beneficial for people who are entering their first term of medical school because it gives them kind of this head start, some insight of what is to come when they do start at SGU. So the MSAP program is one of two that they have at SGU. So there's the medical school assessment program, and that is free of charge and it's invite only. And then there is the charter foundations program. So how it works is you can either get accepted into SGU without any conditions, or you can get accepted with a conditional acceptance based on if you pass the MSAP program. MSAP is a 4-week long course and it's free of charge. And it's kind of this intensive introduction to term 1 at SGU. If you do not pass the MSAP course with a 75%, I believe it was, then you will be placed into the Charter Foundations program, which is, I think, a 4-month course, and it costs something like $8,000. And then these other kind of conditional acceptance you can have to SGU is just straight into the Charter Foundations program, and then you can move on to term 1 after passing the Charter Foundations program with, I think, an 80%. So it's annoying that you may have to complete either the MSAP or the Charter Foundations program, but if you just think about it as covering some of the material that you're already going to see in term 1, then you really can't beat that. The pros of doing the MSAP program is that you get a little window into who your lecturers are going to be and their lecture style. You get to see the format of the lecture slides at SGU. You get to interact with some of your learning strategists that you will need to know at SGU. And you also take exams. So you kind of get a feel for the exam style that some professors will use at SGU. So it's kind of a win-win situation, you know? It's kind of just like exposure to what you're going to be encountering when you get to SGU. So the MSAP program, I took it in February of 2020 before this pandemic went crazy. We covered anatomy and physiology, we covered biochemistry, we covered genetics. Is that it? So the way the week was structured was you had 10 hours of lecture time, then we had 2 optional reviews with students at SGU who actually went through the MSAP course. So that was also really helpful to get a feel from them about how MSAP went for them. They could give us advice on how to be successful in MSAP, and also we could talk about how SGU does things and their success at SGU. My review instructor was in her 3rd year at SGU. She was actually doing her 3rd year in New York. So that was pretty cool as well. So we had the 10 hours of lecture time, which is self-paced. We had the 2 optional hour-long reviews. And then at the end of the week, we had an exam. All of the exams, except for the last one, was 25 questions long, I believe. And the last one was 100 questions long. So the first exam was worth 10%. The second exam was worth 15%. The third exam was worth 20%, and then the 4th exam was worth 55% of our total grade. And again, you have to pass MSAP with a 75% overall. My experience with MSAP is as follows. My first week, it was pretty manageable. They really encourage you to talk to the learning strategist and take it easy the first week. As I said before, the first exam is never worth that much of your grade. MSAP is always changing, so the percentages might change for your cohort. So yeah, the first week was pretty relaxed compared to the others. We had a little less than 10 hours of lecture, and the first exam was pretty straightforward with first order questions. First order questions are basically questions like, what is this? What does this do? They're like kind of like definitions and like very straightforward. In the first week, I actually got to meet with the learning strategist. A lot of other students did as well because that was very highly encouraged. And they helped you kind of figure out how to study for not only MSAP, but for med school. And that was really helpful. They give really great insight. If you are starting at SGU, I highly recommend that you get in touch with a learning strategist if you're doing MSAP or a CFP, or if you're just going into the MD program without these prep courses. I would suggest that you get in with a learning strategist as early as you can. They really are helpful. You might think that you know how to study and then you realize that something is missing. The first week was also kind of a review of most of the things you already covered, maybe in undergrad or while you were studying for your MCAT and stuff like that. The second week was crazy. Mind you, I was working while I was taking this program, so it was a lot. I had to take a lot of time off of work. Thankfully, I had paid time off, so I used a lot of that paid time off, and the second week, I spent about 50 hours just studying. So Mondays and Tuesdays, I would just watch lecture by itself. I would watch lecture and I would annotate my lecture slides. And I would skim through the learning objectives, but as I was annotating my slides, I would look at the learning objectives that they gave us and, just make sure that I was getting through everything and understanding everything as the lectures were going. I did not pause lectures. I did not rewind lectures because I wanted to really keep the integrity of that real-time experience. I would get through lectures by Tuesday afternoon, and then after that, I would really take the time to go through the learning objectives with a fine-tooth comb and make sure that I understood every point. I would make my notes accordingly, and that would take me about twice the time of lecture time. So I spent about 20 hours just, getting through learning objectives, making sure my notes made sense to me and all that. And then after that, I spent the rest of my time, obviously, in the review sessions. The rest of the time, I was just studying. I was meeting up with other students in my cohort for review sessions and study sessions. And that was really helpful. If you're starting MSAP or if you're starting term 1 of medical school at SGU, it's so, so important for you study together. I know that everyone's different. I know that everyone's learning style is different. For me personally, I cannot study with people while I'm learning. I have to learn first, make sure I understand, and then I can meet up with people. But that's okay. Either way, if you ever feel alone or if you ever feel like you're studying and you're kind of hitting a wall, it's really helpful to meet up with other people who are studying the same things as you and hear their perspectives and answer multiple choice questions with them, with each other, that kind of stuff. And that's exactly what we did in our groups. Timed practice exams, we shared notes with each other. It was really helpful for me and everybody else involved. So the exam for week 2 and 3 were more like second order questions. Like it goes past all the definitions and it includes more like case study questions. So I really like those questions because it kind of gets you into that like medical atmosphere. So that was weeks 2 and 3. They were really tough and I did have to take a lot of time off work, but you can do it. There are people in MSAP who are at all different walks of life. Some people have just finished undergrad. Some people have just finished their post-bac. Some people have been out of school for years. Some people have kids and families. So you can do it. You just have to be diligent. You just have to study very, very hard. I'm not telling you that it's easy because it's not at all. I never studied for anything like that in my life. Not even the MCAT. I never studied for anything like that in my life. The hard work really pays off and it really gives you that window into what you are going to see your first year of medical school. Not only what you're going to see your first year of medical school, but what you're going to have to endure. It is a lot of work and it does take time to really understand and learn these concepts that we're learning in medical school. So the week 4 exam was 100 questions long and they gave us a little more time. I think every exam we had about 90 minutes to complete, and for this exam we had 2 hours to complete. I could be wrong, but I think that's what it was. But you do have more than enough time to complete the exams. The exams are all virtual. They use this kind of virtual system that records you while you're taking your exams. And for the most part, it goes pretty smoothly. I have heard some horror stories about the exam shutting off on people, but for the most part, they don't hold that against you. You just kind of email someone or call someone and they'll make sure that you can get back into your exam. There is a very high volume of information that you're going to receive during MSAP. When I took MSAP, I was writing my notes on paper. I would not recommend that at all. First of all, it's not eco-friendly and it's not sustainable. When we go to med school, we're going to be getting even more work. So I would suggest maybe taking and organizing your notes electronically. I know a lot of people at SGU are using Notability on the iPad. I just got my iPad, so I can't wait to kind of like set up Notability. And other people are using OneNote, and I also have OneNote, so I'm going to check them both out and see what I like better, what's more user-friendly for me. But yes, if you are in the MSAP program, everything happens really quickly. You haven't gotten into medical school yet, and you don't know like what apps are best for taking notes. But I would say that if you are really going to value your notes and use them to supplement your first term of medical school, I would highly suggest you use something electronic, because I'm telling you, my stack of notes was like, I'm not even lying, it was like this thick. I had like all these notes, all these lectures, all my MCQs. So it got really crazy really fast. And right now it is late July, and I'm still working on electronically organizing my notes for my first term. So guys, overall, if you're invited to do the MSAP program, don't push back. I think you should really do it. And if you haven't been invited and you want a prep course for SGU, I would suggest doing the MSAP program. Now, SGU does send out an optional prep course a little before school starts, and you can do that prep course instead. But the MSAP program is a little more structured, and you have interactions with more people at SGU. So I would suggest that over the prep course, and they're kind of similar in content. So the MSAP is really a win-win situation. Make sure you have the time set aside. Like I said before, I was studying up to 50 hours a week. They kind of tell you during MSAP that you need 20 hours, but I really think that they mean 20 hours between watching lecture and just studying, because it does take more time to really understand the concepts. Make sure you study hard and study smart. Make sure you really understand these concepts and use the people around you as a resource. You have learning strategists, you have your review session instructor, you have other people in your cohort who want to do well. We all want to do well together. So please use everyone as a resource. Really believe in yourself. You can do this. So many people have gone through this program successfully, and so many of them moved on from that program into the MD program at SGU, and they are practicing medicine. Believe in yourself. I would always tell myself, you're going to pass this, you're going to pass this. And I did. I did the program beautifully. I was really surprised with myself, because I struggled a lot in my post-bac program, and I struggled a lot with the MCAP, but there was something in me. This fire just sparked in me that made me complete the program with a very good grade. If you're taking really valuable and detailed notes that you think will be beneficial to use in the future, I encourage you to do them electronically and not on paper, because things are going to get very hectic real fast. I'm excited to make more videos for you guys as I journey into this MD program at SGU. And if you have any questions, or if you would like any specific videos, please be sure to comment in the comment box, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.